Good and wet Wednesday evening to you. It's very soggy out there for tonight, and as the time we record this, very close to mid-evening, around News 12, Prime News at 7, we're looking at several more hours of rainfall. That's a problem because we have some flood warnings to tell you about and some very breezy conditions into later on tonight. We also have what looks to be two cool downs in our future. The first one, not going to be a powerful punch, but you're going to notice some cooler temperatures in the next few days. The second one, coming up toward around right before Christmas, could be looking at some very cold numbers for the area if everything pans out. We'll keep an eye on that for you. This is Weather Overtime. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, got a segment on here you would like to be able to share or see us talk more about, drop me a line at aonek@wdef.com or find us on the web at wdef.com/weather. Got a lot to talk about, so let's get started with a little bit of almanac information. Just before 7 o'clock, we've picked up 1 inch and 16 hundredths of an inch as well. So once again, we're doing very well on the precipitation for the month. We started off very much on the dry side, and we are now almost 5 inches ahead for the year, so doing very well on that. Very close to normal on precipitation and temperatures for right now, where it looks to be, again, fairly dry over the next several days, so we won't be picking up much more rainfall beyond this. And by the time we hit News 12 at 11, going to be expecting this number to have risen substantially as we get even more rainfall heading our way. Weather window picture of the day, a double shot for you. One from the valley showing some fog out there through the trees. Thank you, Jeff Edwards from Hickson, Tennessee, for a very nice view out there, very Norman Rockwell-ish there. And from my cousin, Alex Fisher, somewhere knee-deep in the water and looking at a very nice working vacation around Honolulu, taking a bit of a break from the Bronx and winter weather heading on through there. Don't get hit by any snowballs on your way back through. Got pictures? Send them to us at pictures@wdef.com or facebook.com/WDEF News 12. We're also on Twitter and Instagram as well. More rainfall over the next several hours. We have not seen any severe weather. That should be happening well down to our south, but plenty of rainfall out there, and going to continue to see a very soggy evening coming up. So if you have any plans for outdoors, plan ahead for this, because we'll be looking for the potential for a lot more rainfall coming up as we go throughout the rest of Wednesday evening, all caused by this storm system making its way through the Plain States and the Mississippi Valley. Blizzard conditions over the northern Plain States, severe weather down to our south, and tons of rainfall all the way on through into the Great Lakes. I'm going to be expecting a lot of this colder air to be affecting us, being swept down from this system, moving in from the northwest. That'll be giving us the cooler temperatures that we see over the next several days. But it's next week that we see the potential of even more colder air dropping its way on southward. Now, the National Weather Service has issued a high wind warning for the counties shaded in purple for the area right along the Tennessee-North Carolina line. And again, that is in effect for the next couple of hours. Wind gusts could be topping 50 to 70 miles per hour out there. And also, don't forget, high-profile vehicles could be the worst hit on things like this. Now, in the brown-shaded areas, we have a wind advisory, winds of about 40 miles per hour plus, and that'll be in the area between Knoxville and Asheville, with the worst right between the peaks of the hills and the mountains out there, so please use caution. We have numerous flood watches in effect, mostly for northwest Georgia, northeast Alabama, and back into southern middle Tennessee. We have flood warnings in the dark green-shaded category for the Sequatchie River near Whitwell and for the Paint Rock River near Woodville, that back into northeastern parts of Alabama. But we also have at this time, this just issued for the next couple of hours, a flood warning in effect for parts of Hamilton County. That's the extreme northwestern part right there. And then also for Marion, Sequatchie, Bledsoe counties, all the way up to just shy of Knoxville, for potential flash flooding in these areas through the next few hours. So again, please remember, turn around, don't drown, find another way to get to where you're going. And we have numerous flood watches remaining in effect over multiple states, all the way on down to the Gulf of Mexico, and we've got, again, severe weather potential staying down to the south of us, so good news on that, with numerous tornado warnings taking place in many locations. So if you're heading south of Birmingham, Montgomery, south of Atlanta tonight, that's where you're going to wind up with the more powerful weather. We also see the potential of flash flooding for tonight, but going away into early tomorrow morning. Now, by tomorrow morning, the rain's done, heading on out of the picture, and a little bit on the cooler side, but temperatures should remain relatively stable for overnight. And tomorrow, we may make normal back in the lower 50s. That's pretty close to where we should be for this time of the year. Then, as we go into Friday, the colder air starts to arrive, so temperatures early Friday morning will be close to freezing, so the kids at the bus stop are going to have to bundle up. And heading back home again, we'll barely be back in the 40s. That'll be our high temperatures, just below normal for this time of the year, but at least we'll have some sunshine for the next couple of days and right on in through the weekend. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit. Drying out for tomorrow, and temperatures will be the warmest that we have seen or will be seeing in the next several days. So for tomorrow, lower 50s, close to normal, and over the next several days after that, temperatures will be cooler, dropping through the weekend, and then starting to rise a bit by next week. Cool enough as we go from Monday into Wednesday for the potential of some winter weather to make its way through. The confidence on this, I got to tell you, was not high to begin with, and we may be seeing the potential for some activity, but right now it is still several days out, and I don't do wish casting, so we'll be keeping a close eye on this, but we'll also be taking a lot of the forecasts with a grain of salt. Now, what is more evident, more than anything else, is a second storm system coming our way as we get into next week. We could be looking at the potential, a better potential, believe it or not, as we go toward the day before Christmas Eve, around Friday next week, of maybe the potential of some winter weather coming on through as that colder air dives in and mixes with that moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. Again, it's way far out. These are just signs that we're seeing for right now. So is it possible? Yeah. Is it carved in stone? Absolutely not, but we will be keeping a very close eye on that, so keep it tuned to News 12 for more. This cool burst we have for now will be affecting our weather in the next couple of days, but it's what happens next week that we see some real potential to. Again, we'll be seeing some very cool conditions as we go into the early portion of next week. We showed you those temperatures on the 7-day forecast, but watch what happens as we get into the end of next week. Big punch of colder air swings down from parts of Canada, and that is what could give us here in the News 12 viewing area possibly some low temperatures in the lower teens, maybe even into the single digits, depending on what goes on. So we could be looking at a very cold Christmas coming up. Not too shabby in some parts of the world where you have American troops serving. We're back into the 20s, 30s around portions of the Japanese islands. Again, that we feature this as you may have friends or loved ones overseas, and we try to bring you updates on toward the home front as to what's going on where your friends or loved ones may be serving. So not really seeing a big winter storm, but definitely colder there. A little bit warmer on our second location, heading back over toward Iraq. Temperatures decently pleasant, just clouds out there, a little bit warmer, milder, and some rain showers down around the area of Basra, but we're not seeing anything else. We can get some pretty powerful sandstorms at this time of the year, so not seeing anything like that whip up, so good news for people who are serving over there. More on where the troops are, and more coming up again on my social media pages, so find out more and keep it tuned on the web for more details on what's happening. We'll keep our eyes on both those winter weather chances and the big cold bursts that we're expecting over the next several days. Chip Chapman will have the forecast bright and early on Friday, or on Thursday morning, and on Friday morning for that matter. Again, got any questions, concerns, find me on the web or send me an email at aonek@wdef.com. A lot of changes taking place in the next few days. Such is the nature of winter weather. A lot can happen, and all it takes is one burst of warm air here, a little bit too much moisture there to really change things. So we've got to stay up to date on this, especially if you or someone you know is traveling. We'll keep you up to date on that, so stay tuned for more on News 12. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Thanks for joining us for the latest edition of WDEF News 12 Video Weather Blog Weather Overtime. More to come throughout the evening on News 12, so stay tuned.